Alright guys, good evening. Tonight our video notes are on division and imaginary numbers. So, first of all, what you need to know is that you can have no imaginary numbers in the denominator. So we're going to learn how to get rid of the imaginary number in the denominator. And here are the rules that you can read. So let's just jump right down here to example number 1. Notice we have an imaginary number in the denominator. So to make it go away, you're going to multiply by I over I. And the reason we can do that is because I over I is 1. And anything times 1 is itself. So we're not changing the value, we're just changing the form. So multiplying, we get 1 times I. We get I on top. I times I, we get I squared on the bottom. And notice that our I is going to go away because I squared is equal to, that's right Kenzie, you got it, -1. Very good. Okay, and we can simplify this a little bit further. I divided by -1 is going to be -I. Okay, let's look at number 2. So notice number 2, the exponent is larger than 4. So the first thing we want to do is downsize this so that we can write an equivalent value for the I. So 4 goes into 6 one time, and we have a remainder of 2. So we can rewrite this as 1 over I squared, and there you go, 1 over -1, which is -1. Pretty neat, huh? Wake up, Taylor. Okay, next thing we're going to do is get rid of the imaginary down here. We're going to use the same process we did in number 1. So to get rid of the I, we're going to multiply by I over I. Hopefully you can see why we're doing that by now. Okay, multiplying the numerator, we get I on top, and we get 5I squared on the bottom. And yes, you guessed it, Rochanel, I squared is -1. And so we end up with I over -5. See, remember our goal. Our goal is to get I out of the denominator. Okay? Number 4. Now, to get an I out of the denominator when you have a grouping like this, you want to multiply by the conjugate, the complex conjugate. So we're going to have the complex conjugate is, that's right, 5 minus I. Very good job. So multiplying by the conjugate of 5 plus I, which is 5 minus I over 5 minus I, which again is 1. Okay. 1 times 5 minus I is just 5 minus I. Now we're going to have to FOIL this. Now remember, when you're multiplying conjugates, there is no middle term. So really, all we need to do here is do the first and the last terms. So 5 times 5, and then I times -I, which is -I squared. Okay, continuing on, we're going to have 25 minus I squared is -1. And continuing on, we get 26. Notice the I is no longer present. Okay, number 5, it says find the reciprocal of I minus 3. So remember, reciprocal we exchange the numerator and the denominator. Hey Tammy, so we're going to put the I minus 3 over 1. It says find the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of I minus 3 over 1 is 1 over I minus 3. Uh-oh, we have a problem. We can't have an imaginary number in the denominator. So what are we going to multiply by? That's right. Good answer, Matthew. The conjugate. So we're going to have I plus 3 over I plus 3. And we're going to multiply that out. Now, yes, whoever it was that asked me if I was going to check number 4 in the last video notes, I'm going to check number 5 in these. So why don't you multiply this out and see if you can get the correct answer. Okay? Number 6 is the same way. We're multiplying by the conjugate. I have some people here that need tutoring, so I should really pause my video and go and help them. And I'll be back shortly, and we'll do number 7 together. So why don't you go get yourself a glass of cold chocolate milk while you're waiting. Okay, I'm back. How was that chocolate milk? I hope it was good. Now, notice we're subtracting and adding some fractions. Well, there's a problem. Do you guys see it? Yep, that's right. We got i's in the denominator. So first thing we want to do here is get the i's out of the denominator. Okay, so we've already learned how to do that. I'm going to rewrite it. So 1 over 2i, multiply that by I over I. Okay, minus 3 over I, multiply that by I over I, plus 2 over 3i, multiply that by I over I. Okay, so we're going to get, let's go ahead and simplify this. So 1 times I is I, 2 times I squared is negative 2, minus 3 times I is 3i, I times I, negative 1, plus 2 times I, 3i times I is negative 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and, so this is going to be, I'm going to rewrite this up here. We're going to have a negative 1. I'm going to move that negative up top over 2. I'm going to make, since we have a minus and a negative, I'm going to make that plus, minus and a negative. And then since we have a negative, I'm going to make that a minus. Okay, common denominator, 2, 1, and 3. So we're going to use the 6. So running out of room here. So it's going to be 3 over 3, 6 over 6, 2 over 2. Because 2 times 3 is 6, gets me a common denominator. 1 times 6 gets me a common denominator. 3 times 2 gets me a common denominator. So we're going to have a negative 3i. I'm kind of rushing here, so hopefully I'm not making any mistakes. 18i. And minus 4i. And that's all over 6. Remember, when adding and subtracting, the denominator stays the same. Okay, combining like terms, we get 15i minus 4i, 11i, and I feel like hopefully I didn't do anything wrong. Let's just double check my work here. 1 over 2i, 3 over I. I'm going to pause it while I check my work just to make sure I have the right answer. Okay, I went over it. Seems like it's accurate. And go ahead and attempt this problem. Remember To get rid of the I in the denominator, you're going to multiply both of these by their conjugates over themselves. So 2 minus I over 2 minus I, 5 plus I over 5 plus I, and then add them together. Alright, see you guys tomorrow. Sleep well, Manny.